I'm Brittany with Birth It Forward, certified birth and bereavement doula, certified yoga instructor, and family photographer.
Hi, I'm Kristen Mason. I'm also with Birth It Forward. I am a certified birth, postpartum, and bereavement doula, a childbirth educator, and a student midwife. And today we are going to be doing a series on induction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And let's get ready to hear from some doulas who know squat.
We are going to talk about induction from 4 to 6 centimeters in this video today as part of our induction series. So welcome back and let's hit the road.
Awesome. So in our previous video, we talked a bit about Foley and Cook catheters. If you do not know what we're talking about, then I highly encourage you to go back and watch that video. Brittany, are you able to use Foley or Cook catheters at this point?
No, ma'am, you cannot use either of those catheters at this point.
Yep. That is because you have dilated past where they would be helpful. You would put in the catheter, blow up the balloon, and it would fall right out.
That's right.
Because you're
Those
already past that point
catheters,
of dilation.
yep, those catheters only work to 4 centimeters. So the whole premise of using those is gone.
Absolutely. So, congratulations. You are past the point of being able to use that particular method. This is also where Cervidil and Cytotec, and if you don't know what those are, go back and watch earlier videos. They're no longer going to be particularly helpful at this point either, because if you're dilated to a 4, your cervix is probably more favorable.
Yes, softer and ready to go. And if you don't know what that means, go watch the Bishop Score video about a favorable cervix and what we're looking for that can makes it a favorable cervix.
Absolutely. So you might be asking, okay, great, ladies,
Now
what
what?
options are available to me then?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a great question. Well, what options are available to us? Your
Yes.
doctor may recommend some Pitocin at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This is a viable option at this point of 4 to 6 centimeters. You are still technically in early labor, but the Pitocin will have a lot more effect now because you are more dilated and softened for it to dilate further. So the Pitocin will actually work at this point compared to when we were at 0 or 3 centimeters.
Absolutely. When you're talking about Pitocin induction, what reaction will you probably get if you're trying to continue nipple stimulation?
Sorry, my brain went off on a tangent. Are you are you saying should we do nipple stimulation now?
Mhm.
Yes, you can absolutely do nipple stimulation now, but you won't want to do that in conjunction with Pitocin, if that's what you're saying.
What's the question? Would you want to do it with
Okay.
Pitocin? No.
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 Pitocin is a synthetic oxytocin, and nipple stimulation is going to stimulate your body to create natural oxytocin. But we can't measure how much oxytocin your body is releasing versus compared to what we can see in the Pitocin going in, the um, synthetic oxytocin. Sometimes you'll see that on the bag too, not just Pitocin, but literally synthetic oxytocin.
It
Um,
is.
yes. So what they don't want is for that overstimulation of your body saying, okay, I'm going to flood the system with oxytocin, but I'm already getting flooded with synthetic oxytocin. So now we are going to have super intense, super close together contractions. And it's like if you go and do a power workout session for 30 minutes, and then you go and do another power workout session and another power workout session, you are way over exhausting your entire body. This is the same concept for your uterus. You don't want that tired uterus because now it can't do anything if it's overtired. So you want it to just have one oxytocin stimulant in order to do its contraction and get things going.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about what Pitocin might look like for you. So there is what's called a gentle induction, where they actually start with a one one drip. It's very, very slow. Most hospitals are going to start you with 2. at the bottom and then go up by 2. But if you are not in a hurry and you're really wanting to be as gentle as possible, you can request by 1 and have that conversation with them.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone start with 1. It's
Really?
always been 2. Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen it start with 1. Nice. I'll remember that.
You can. You absolutely can.
I think
And
I've
that's,
asked before, and they told me no,
yeah.
or they told
So
me no.
you don't have as much of a voice when it comes to the dosage of medication because you don't know as much as somebody who has gone to medical school for it, generally speaking. But you can request it and you can say, I'm willing to compromise with you. If you are a person who wasn't wanting Pitocin in the first place, I am willing to go on to Pitocin if you give me 1 and increase by 1 every 30 minutes instead of 2. And that's generally what we're going to be looking at. Pitocin is not something that they start and just hit you with a full dose all at once. It's a slow build up with the goal supposedly being to be on as little Pitocin as possible and you to still give birth. Because there are potential side effects of Pitocin. Some of them are more correlation. For example, postpartum depression rates tend to be higher in people who've had Pitocin while they were in labor or if they're given it just in their postpartum, which we can talk about later. But so keeping these types of things in mind of the lower the dosage then the less, but that's a correlation. But and also keeping in mind that your baby will be experiencing these contractions as well. And since it's a synthetic oxytocin, neither you or the baby is getting the pain relief that you receive from natural oxytocin. So the idea being that we're going to try to keep these doses low so that everything is manageable for you and for baby. And we're wanting to monitor both of your vitals and see if baby's handling it well. And if baby's not handling that Pitocin well, then maybe we need to turn it off. And that's not a viable option for your induction.
Yeah. Something else to keep in mind is once you start Pitocin, nurses or doctors, usually it's the nurse because they're being told by the doctor to do it. So the nurses will come in and increase that drip every 30 minutes. And sometimes they do it really quietly. So something you can say is, let me know when you increase the drip. Let's have a conversation if the doctor wants to increase it. Why are we increasing it? We have reasons why we might be increasing it. A lot of it is your contraction pattern, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But most of the time, they're just trying to get your contraction pattern in a steady pattern, and the lower drip isn't getting it there. But there is that option with the lower drip to gradually increase and get you to that contraction pattern that they're looking for. So just be aware, they are going to come in and very quietly increase that drip so that you know that that's going to happen and you can say, hey, let me know when we're coming in to increase it. Or you just know, okay, we're going to increase it every 30 minutes. Can we just increase it every hour maybe? As another option that you can ask for. They may say no. And if that's the case, you can say, well, I don't approve of this. I don't agree to this.
They can't do anything to you without your consent. My second baby was born in the hospital. My first at home. And when I went into the hospital, I was guns a-blazing, ready to defend myself. And I remember my midwife just coming over and she just very gently leaned over. She said, hey, can we just agree that I won't do anything to you without your permission? And then we can move from there. I was like, oh, yes,
Yeah,
that sounds
exactly.
lovely. Let's do that.
You have
And then
present.
before they did anything, I was consulted and it worked wonderfully. And I had a very nice, very fast hospital birth. And so having that conversation of just saying, how about we just agree that before you do anything, you get my permission and then I can relax.
Yep,
Which
just
includes
relax.
increasing my Pitocin drip if that's something that needs to happen. And then, ask what pattern are we looking for? And then discuss, have we achieved that pattern? And then if you start having contractions that are closer together than what they want or longer than what we're wanting, then let's discuss the potential turning it down. Or if you're wearing out, do we want to turn the Pitocin off so that you can take a nap, recognizing that that means the contractions may stop and you've worked all that time to get them started again, but you don't lose any of the progress made. And we talked more about this in earlier videos. But once you make progress in labor, it doesn't go away as far as your cervical change goes. The cervix doesn't come back from the uterus, it doesn't thicken again. It doesn't do that. It can swell, right?
Yeah.
It can come where it seems like it is coming back because there's not pressure holding it open anymore. But turning the Pitocin off to take a break does not lose the progress made to your cervix that was made from
And,
having the Pitocin in the first place.
and it doesn't mean that your contractions will stop entirely.
Right.
Your body has begun this work just with an outside stimulation. Now your body might have the opportunity to take it over and continue it on its own, which will give you the natural oxytocin pain relief that your body is naturally going to build. So it's definitely an option to turn it down or even turn it off. They will be more willing to turn it down than off, but you can absolutely say, no, I need it off.
Yep, it's your body and you get to decide. Or you can decide, I'm ready to get this done and I'm over it and I don't want to turn it off. And that's completely up to
Yep.
you.
A lot of times the contraction pattern we're looking for, not me in general, I'm just meaning the hospital, doctors, people who are watching the monitor and are qualified to interpret that monitor, which I am not qualified to interpret.
And say not your doula.
Not your doula. Your doula is not qualified to interpret that monitor. We can understand it. By all means, I can look at it and interpret it myself, but I can't tell you what it means. So the contraction pattern that they are looking for is a contraction every 3 to 5 minutes. And the wave, the peak of that wave isn't showing you the intensity of your contraction. It's just kind of showing you the peak of the contraction, that it's picking up and then going back down. So they're wanting that to be 3 to 5 minutes from one peak to the next peak of your contraction. And they're wanting that to be consistent over an hour's time frame.
So let's talk about Pitocin monitoring. Up until the point that you start Pitocin, you can have what's called intermittent monitoring for the most part. But once medications are introduced, especially at the level of Pitocin, they're going to want to monitor consistently. And that's generally going to be monitors that are placed on your abdomen and then strapped on with these little flexible cloth straps that are then plugged in. Or it's going to be what's called a Monica for most hospitals. That's the version that they use, but a Bluetooth monitor that's not plugged in, but that is sort of taped onto your belly, which can be very useful if you're wanting to walk or get in water. You can actually cover it with
Like a
the
sticker.
same plastic, that they use to cover IVs. That same plastic can be put over it, and then you can get into water. Or an internal monitor, which will be plugged in, but actually is not on your abdomen. It's actually through the cervix. And that one would measure the strength of your contractions. So that can be kind of helpful if you're looking to see, we're trying to reach a certain strength level. Maybe you're having them often enough, but they're not making change. So we're trying to see, it's happening, but it's not happening strongly enough. So we're going to give you just enough Pitocin to get you to the point that it is strong enough, so that cervical change starts being made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And all of those cervical changes will affect your contraction pattern too. So,
Yep, absolutely.
oh, go ahead.
I was about to use that as an interlude to change to the next topic, just
Me
like
too.
you. What would
So-
you like to discuss next?
Another option, let's talk another way, potentially doing another membrane sweep at this point rather than breaking water. Let's just build it up. So you have that option of saying, let's just try another membrane sweep and see what that does. Or let's try membrane sweep for the first time. You could be at 4 centimeters at home on your own And maybe we're at 30, not 30 weeks, maybe we're at 41 and 5 days, and you're getting to the wire, and we're like, okay, well, maybe we just need a little stimulation.
Yeah, that can absolutely work. And if you have questions about what membrane sweeps are, please go back and watch previous videos. We go into very good detail about what
We
to
do.
expect in a membrane sweep. The same for breaking water. If your water is still intact at this point, that is a conversation that your provider may or may not want to have with you. Some providers do really prefer to break water as a way to try to push you into active labor. But that isn't necessarily always the best choice. And we talked about that quite a bit in this previous video. So if you don't know what we're talking about here, or if you just want to watch the rest of our series so that you can know what we're talking about as we keep referring back, click any of the links below, watch the whole series.
Mhm.
Something I do really like to talk to my clients about at this point is the definition of something called failure to progress. And this is very important because it is a diagnosis that can lead to C-section. And for most people, that is the only solution to an actual diagnosis of failure to progress. It means that you have been dilated to at least a 6 with your contractions consistently happening every, was it 3 to 4 minutes?
3 to 5 minutes. Yeah.
3 to
Well,
5
it might
minutes.
be 3 to 4
I
minutes.
think it's
'Cause,
4
yeah.
over the past hour. And that once you meet that criteria, then you're considered in active labor. So you have to have met that criteria for 7 hours and have made no cervical change in order to be diagnosed with failure to progress. For a
That's a
lot of
long
people,
time.
that's a long time.
That's a
So we're
long
looking
time.
at 8 hours of no cervical change with active contractions happening every 3 to 5 minutes, lasting at least a minute in length. And if you don't meet that criteria, you cannot be diagnosed correctly with failure to progress because you are not in active labor yet. And that change in definition, early labor can last for an incredibly long time. So trying to put a timeline on it makes no sense. And when we're looking at timing active labor, that's a little bit more reasonable. I still don't think it's super reasonable, but it's a little bit more reasonable than trying to time a failure to progress for inactive labor. So if you don't meet that criteria, then that might not be a good conversation to be having at that time. There, especially if you have been manually dilated to a 4 in the first place, and then you're being diagnosed with failure to progress, your body might not have been in labor at all. There, there's no, it's not a failure to progress, it's a failure to launch. You have
Yeah,
not started yet. Maybe that means you need to take a break. Maybe you need to go to sleep, go home. It's going to really depend on if that's safe for you at that point. But for a lot of people, taking a break and then coming back and starting again the next day can make all the difference in the world.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and with all that work that you have done to get that labor started, again, like she said, it's not gone. It's just you need a break, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, or spatially. You need a break. So get that break, come back, and start it again. There's nothing hurting it to do that as long as you have no medical reason to get the baby out right then.
Viable option for many people that you can consider and explore with your provider.
Yes. Now, honestly, a lot of people don't ask it, even if we recommend the thing, or we say, hey, maybe you should think about this because, whatever reason, all the reasons we talked about.
Already committed, we're ready to meet our baby.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it all the time, but
We get
that
it.
just means we're going to have a longer time in the hospital waiting for things to begin. And you're going to have some higher risk for postpartum mood disorders because now we're also thinking our body's broken. Your body is not broken. It's not. I promise. It's not broken. It just needs more time.
Yeah. And that's so often the case. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that is induction from 4 to 6 centimeters. So join us
Yeah.
in our next video for learning about induction for labor that stalls during active labor.